Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and today we are taking a look at a Serbu Super Shorty. This is, in this particular case, a Remington 870 chopped down to have a 2+1 capacity, a pistol grip, and a vertical folding front grip. And if you're wondering, holy cow, how is that not an NFA item? Well, the answer is it absolutely is an NFA item. This is categorized as an any other weapon. For a couple of different reasons. It's a smoothbore handgun. It's also a handgun with a vertical front grip on it. At any rate, we're taking a look at this because I just think it's really cool. And it's been a while, but I finally got my hands on one to film. So the backstory here is this essentially exists because a lot of people just think it's cool. The origin of the Super Shorty is in 1998 when Mark Serbu is running his company manufacturing guns, and he has one product at that point, and it's a suppressed Ruger 1022, or I'm sorry, a suppressed Ruger Mark II pistol. And he has a buddy that he owes $600 to, and his buddy says, tell you what, instead of giving me the money, why don't you do some work? Because I really would like to have this Mossberg 590 cut down to be incredibly tiny. Like, how short can you make it? How about you do that instead of the cash you owe me? And Serbu thinks that's a dumb idea for a gun, but he likes that idea better than paying the dude the cash. So he turns out essentially the first one of these. The first of what would end up being more than 6,000 manufactured over almost 30 years now. So when he finishes this thing and has it ready for his buddy, Serbu looks at it and goes, that's pretty stupid. Like, that's a dumb gun. But his buddy really liked it, and his buddy starts showing it to people, and most of the people he showed it to really liked it. I have to say, I fit into this category. I just think it's pretty cool. And clearly, so do a lot of people, because Serbu started getting requests for them. So this became the second product from Serbu Firearms, kind of to Mark Serbu's dismay. This wasn't a product he was particularly excited about. It wasn't a product that was had a particularly good profit margin for him, because of course, this isn't manufactured from scratch. This is a gun where Serbu buys essentially the action, or even maybe the complete gun, and then cuts it down and does the conversion work. So there's a large expense already built into the front end of the gun. He doesn't get to make profit on the manufacturing of the main part of the firearm. So if it weren't for the fact that these were so popular, I think he probably would have stopped making them a long time ago. As it is, in fact, when I talked to him, he described this as his stairway to heaven of products, which is to say, it's the one that people know and that people love. And in fact, most people, if you know the name Serbu for firearms, you probably know it through the Serbu Super Shorty. This has been in games, this has been in movies, it's been in TV shows. It's a really popular gun that people have known. And so, like Stairway to Heaven, it's the one that people always go, do a Super Shorty! And, you know, the band has the crowd yell out, do Stairway to Heaven! And they're like, all right, fine, we'll do it through popular demand. Well, Serbu continues to make Super Shorties through popular demand. When he introduced his BFG 50, single-shot 50 caliber rifle, that was a much more interesting project for him, and he basically just tried to kill off the Super Shorty by raising the price a couple times. Figured, you know what, if we just make it too expensive, people will stop asking for them. And it didn't really work, because the price went up and people just kept on ordering them. So this has been for nearly 30 years now, with a total of more than 6,000 of them made. It's sort of been an on and off gun. Today, this is dependent on acquisition of the base guns, which aren't always readily available. But like, it's gone to a lot of people. It's gone from everyone to, well, frankly, I have a buddy who carried one of these hiking years ago as a bear gun. Why not? It's apparently been sent to some sneaky special forces type guys who didn't say anything about who they were, but the delivery address for where some of these guns were going was like, oh, we know we know what that address means. So they've gotten out there, they've been all over the place, and they're just a really cool gun. Let's go ahead and take this guy out to the range and try doing some shooting with it. By the way, When I first was planning out this video, I was planning to get one of those super cool firepower rigs. There's a guy who makes holsters for these things that hold a Shorty 12 gauge on one side and then a pistol and like 10 rounds of spare 12 gauge ammo on the other side, which is just ludicrously over the top cool. And I wanted to get one of those to have in the video for you guys. And it's like $600 and a 6-month wait to get one of those. And I went, not that important. So let's head out to the range with just the Super Shorty. All right, sorry, let me actually just give you a real quick primer on how this thing works. So this particular one is built on a Remington 870. There you are, Remington 870. Initially, the first one, like I said, was a Mossberg, and he's done both Mossberg and Remington-based ones. The Mossberg has a tang safety back here, easiest way to tell them apart. A number of the parts have changed over time. Serbu's design has evolved over time, so the action bars, the connection here, this has all changed a bit as he's improved it. We have right now this magazine clamp here with a front sight integrally milled into it. There is no rear sight, by the way. Like, this isn't a rear sight kind of gun. The handle folds down like that easily, and then to retract it, you have to pull it down like so, and then you can snap it back up. It is meant to be fired one-handed or two-handed. We'll see if that works. This is probably the more stable way to go. And capacity is, like I said, 2+1 on this, the standard model. In case you're wondering what people use these for, well, there are a number of answers. If you need a concealable 12 gauge, this is a fairly concealable 12 gauge. I think a significant majority of them are for purely recreational use because that looks funny, which it is. I'm not going to say that doesn't have an element of truth for me. And these do also get used as breaching guns sometimes by like law enforcement or other security type organizations. Serbu does sell them sometimes with a breaching muzzle device on them. And hey, if you want a breaching gun that's going to be nice and short, well, that'll do it. And you don't generally need a lot of capacity and that sort of thing. All right, how much could this possibly hurt? Let's find out. These will be my first shots through this thing. So we'll go ahead and use the front grip. It'll hold 3 rounds total, 2 in the tube, 1 in the chamber. And I've got some AA number 8 birdshot. There's 1. And 1 in the tube. 2 in the tube. Crossbolt safety. Here we go. I am aiming at nothing in particular. Whoa. That's hefty. Whew, okay. You can feel the heat of the firing on your front hand when you pull the trigger. All right, if you're actually going to carry one of these things, which allegedly at least a few people have, you're not going to be using birdshot. You're going to be using buckshot. So I have brought out some Federal 12 gauge double-aught flight control buckshot. This is 9 pellet, and it's really good buckshot for making tight patterns. And I'm really kind of curious how it groups out of this. So we're going to try some of the flight control, and then I've got some just generic standard Remington 9 pellet double-aught buck. We'll try that as well. Okay, this is like the goofiest shotgun thing I've ever done. We are at a realistic combat distance for a Super Shorty, which is 5 yards to my big piece of cardboard. I got 1 round of flight control here. I'm going to hold this out in front of me and hopefully not punch myself in the face with it. Whew. Okay, you ready? Not bad. Actually, I put a ton of forward pressure on this front grip, and that really helped control the recoil impulse. Matt Hott talks about the push-pull technique. Well, it's really easy to do push-pull with a big vertical steel front grip on this thing that you can just into the target. So here's our flight control. We got 3 pellets outside of the main grouping. That's actually a pretty terrible result for flight control. Normally, you'd be getting a group like this with flight control at like 20 yards. So that makes me really curious to see what this does with just generic off-the-shelf buckshot. If you're not familiar with flight control, the idea is the wad in a flight control round actually holds all the pellets together. It prevents them from deforming on the barrel while they're going down the barrel and gives you a far tighter pattern, far tighter group than you get with generic buckshot. So, all right, back to 5 yards. Here we go. 1 round, express 9 pellet, double up buck. Ready? All right, I was trying to aim a little bit lower. Felt recoil was about the same. This guy is, in fact, a much larger group because that, and that were flight control pellets. So the regular buckshot at 5 yards out of this thing is still doing like a full hand-sized group. Which, like, that's very effective, but as soon as you go any farther back, you know what, let's try it. Okay, I'm curious. Let's try a round at like 20 yards. I'm gonna tape up all these holes. All right, I am at 20 paces here. Round of flight control. I hit it. You know, that recoil is actually, I'm getting the feel for it. If you were in a stressful situation where you actually had to shoot at someone using this thing, that recoil would not be the least of your problems. All right, so 20 yards, there's our pattern with the flight control. Like, that's, so I would say simultaneously that is still effective, but also extremely easy to miss with. People often think about shotguns, especially short-barreled shotguns, as, oh, they make this huge cone of death and destruction and you can't miss with them, just point it in the general vicinity of the bad guy and it'll blow him away. Well, if your aim is off even a little bit, this is double the width of a person. You don't have to be off much before at 20 paces, you got nothing on target. All right, let's try this. Let's see, I'm gonna go get a pen. I'm gonna circle these and we'll try it with a round of a regular generic Remington buck. Let's see how it did. Whoo! All right, so this is, our pattern is exactly the size of our cardboard because that was 9 pellet and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 in the middle. So that, you know, sometimes shotgun guys will talk about a donut pattern where if you have not great performing buckshot or birdshot, well, mostly buckshot, the pellets will get deformed and they'll tend to open up and create a donut with an open center of the pattern. And that's pretty much what we have here. We got 2 out of 9 that are actually at the point of aim, and all the rest have just spiraled out into the void. I don't know exactly what the practical takeaway here is. It's either don't use this past 5 yards, or inshallah the thing every time, or use good flight control buckshot. So Mark Serbu sent me this on loan to film because I asked him if he'd send me one on loan to film because I thought these were kind of a cool idea and something worth doing a video on. So this is a loaner from him that he did give me the option to purchase and keep if I wanted to. And I'll be honest, I'm really tempted to just pay for it and keep it instead of send it back to him because this thing is completely stupid, but actually kind of a lot of fun. It actually doesn't hurt as much to shoot as I expected. I thought it would be really just straight up unpleasant, and it's not. It kicks a lot, but that grip actually does a pretty decent job. I mean, you're gonna know it when you fire this thing, but as long as you're prepared for it, like, it's kind of fun. Anyway, hopefully you guys found the video fun. Thanks for watching.
I've wanted to shoot one of these since I saw them on Burn Notice. Not horrible.
Right?
Definitely Definitely a bit push in the backhand, and you can definitely feel everything coming off on the front hand, but it's really easy to just kind of,
That vertical front grip really lets you do a push-pull
yeah.
control on it.
It'd be,
I don't think I want to shoot it with the grip folded.
yeah, I was gonna say, what is that like?
Oh,
Right.
you came really
I'm
close
gonna
to,
not do that anymore
you
because
came really close to eating the back of the receiver on that one.